On Thursday, I told you to bet Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt under 43 and a half rushing yards, and he finished with just 17 yards on 4 carries. Let's carry that over into this Week 2 Sunday card. I got you 3 best bets with plenty of analysis. We're going to look at the Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the Eagles, a divisional showdown between the Ravens and the Browns, and we'll end it with my favorite pick for Sunday Night Football between the Falcons and the Vikings. Now, welcome to my channel. My name is Peter Apple, and this channel is the home for all of my NFL picks moving forward. And if you would be so kind, especially if you cash with us on that Thursday Night Football play, is just to press the like button. And of course, comment down below. What do you think about my plays for this Sunday? And what are your favorite plays? I'd love to have some discourse in the comment section below. Make sure to press that big red subscribe button so you never miss any of my picks. And also make sure to turn on post notifications because my Monday Night Football video is coming out very soon. Let's get into it. But before we get to the analysis, a reminder that you can find all of my plays on BetMGM. Just remember to use code JustGridiron if you're new. Because if your first pick loses, you'll get it all back in bonus bets up to $1,500. Reminder, it's code JustGridiron on BetMGM. Let's talk about my favorite total of the week before we get into my 2 against the spread picks. Again, we're going to look at that Chiefs versus Eagles Super Bowl rematch. The natural instinct with a Super Bowl rematch that produced 62 points is to assume fireworks again. But the data just tells a different story, and the matchup points strongly towards a slower, lower scoring affair. Also, 62 points doesn't even tell the full story. Mahomes led the Chiefs to 16 garbage time points, and the Eagles scored 2 touchdowns off turnovers. Philadelphia is coming off a Thursday night win that stayed under the total despite 41 first half points. Remember that one? We took the over. The Eagles controlled the game on the ground with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, but the passing game just never found its footing. A.J. Brown was held to just 1 catch for 8 yards, and the offense managed only 152 passing yards without a single explosive play, which is an alarming departure from the downfield attack that has defined Philly since Brown's arrival. Makes things even worse considering the Cowboys have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Despite excellent pass protection, Hurts takes a lot of sacks. 8.7% of his dropbacks in 2024, a rate better only than Deshaun Watson, Will Levis, and Caleb Williams. That tendency to take these drive-killing sacks feeds into the type of ball control game script that favors an under. And on the other side, Kansas City just doesn't have a good offense, especially without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. The Chiefs finished dead last in explosive runs and 27th in explosive pass plays in 2024. Patrick Mahomes, still brilliant in so many ways, posted a negative 2.1 Alex rating. It's a very fancy stat. It's per FTN Fantasy, meaning his throws came on average more than 2 yards short of the sticks. This conservative profile produced a 52.3% success rate, which is 9th in the NFL, but just a 6.5% explosive pass rate, 27th. The result of that is just these long, methodical drives where KC trying to grind out wins rather than stack style points. And week 1 was more of the same. Justin Herbert carved up Kansas City through the air, but Steve Spagnuolo's defense held strong against the run, which is important, especially here, allowing only a 44% success rate and 2 explosive runs all night. That continues a trend from last season, where the Chiefs allowed the 4th fewest explosive runs in the NFL. With Barkley bringing that big play juice, Philly generated an explosive run on 12.7% of rushes in 2024. So KC's ability to bottle up these long runs is critical, and they already proved they can do so in the Super Bowl. Defensively, Philadelphia gets a massive lift with Jalen Carter back after his week 1 ejection. The spit. Last season, the Eagles allowed just a 39.2% rushing success rate, 9th in the NFL, and Carter's presence strengthens both the run defense and the pass rush. You combine that with KC's league worst explosive run profile, that projects a long night on the ground for Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and of course, all the other backs they got. Meanwhile, the Chiefs' own rushing efficiency was really misleading in week 1. Excluding Mahomes' scrambles, they managed just a 45.5% rushing success rate with a single explosive rush. Without these reliable chunk gains, KC is forced into these short passing, possession football, a style that just drains the clock. There's also a really strong system on this under. When two teams play on Sunday and both teams going into that game have 8+ days of rest, right? Because Philly played on Thursday, Chiefs played on Friday. The under is 41, 16, and 1. It's a 71.9% hit rate and a 37% ROI. Some systems have high hit rates and it doesn't really make much sense. However, this one does. The body has more time to heal. Each team has more time to prepare. Those two teams also just saw each other in the Super Bowl, and both teams still have similar identities, especially on offense. All told, this matchup has the hallmarks of a methodical, possession-driven contest. KC's recent profile screams unders, while Philly's reliance on the run and Hurts' sack tendencies further suppress scoring. I project this game for 45 points, which makes the under 47 one of my strongest plays of the week. A lot of people are going to be on this over. They see 62, not so much. Give me the under. My next pick kicks off at 1 p.m. Eastern between the Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Get ready to get ugly. Despite their struggles last season, the Browns still roster one of the most dominant players in football, an edge rusher, Myles Garrett. In 2024, Cleveland led the NFL in pressure rate per FTN Fantasy, generating pressures on 41% of opponent dropbacks, a full 2.5% higher than Denver, who fielded the league's top defense by EPA. They were also stout against the run, finishing 5th in success rate allowed and 1st in stuff rate, stopping 27.7% of rushes at or behind the line of scrimmage. Against the Ravens offense that thrives on balance, the ability to both collapse the pocket and erase these early down runs is as strong as a counterpunch as most defenses can even offer. On the other side of the ball, Cleveland's offense isn't very good, but veteran quarterback Joe Flacco still has one skill that matters in a game like this. He can push the ball downfield, right? With Flacco under center, especially in 2023, from weeks 10 to 18, they rank 6th in explosive pass plays per FTN. The strength directly matches up with Baltimore's vulnerability. The Ravens allowed the 3rd most explosive pass plays in 2024. If Cleveland can just generate a handful of chunk gains through the air, gives them that path to hang around, keep this game closer than the market expects. And we all know about those divisional dog trends that hit close to 56% of the time. But in week 2 specifically, it's been widely profitable to take the underdog in a matchup of two winless teams. In week 2, teams like the Browns are 74, 41, and 5, good for a 64.3% hit rate. We also have a 81.3% system on the Cleveland Browns. I couldn't believe it. Here it is. This comes to us from Ralph Michaels of Wager Talk. When a team starts the season coming off a divisional loss and then plays another divisional opponent in week 2, teams like the Browns have covered 81.2% of the time, going 26, 6, and 2 against the spread. Just last season, the Browns not only covered, but won outright against the Baltimore Ravens, despite entering the matchup as the way worse team. The Ravens themselves have shown a pattern of these tighter divisional contests. 4 of their 6 AFC North games in 2024 were decided by a single score, including 2 outright losses. They've shown time and time again they struggle to close out these games, given their weakness against explosives, and the defense's 31st ranking in EPA after week 1. The back door should remain open in this one. The Ravens are a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but divisional games rarely play out like mismatches on paper. Cleveland has the defensive firepower to generate pressure, stuff the run, along with a proven ability to hit explosive plays through the air. Exactly the profile needed to hang around against Baltimore. My model makes the Ravens about minus 10.5, like minus 10.4. So at plus 13, there's too much value here. Give me the Browns to keep it within about 2 scores. The back door is always going to be open with Flacco. For our last pick, we're going to look at the rematch of the national championship game. Well, kinda. We have J.J. McCarthy coming from Michigan now with the Minnesota Vikings, and Michael Penix coming from Washington, now on the Atlanta Falcons. Let's get into it. Atlanta comes into this matchup with a clear blueprint. Attack Minnesota's zone-heavy coverage scheme through the air. The Vikings played zone on an eye-popping 86% of dropbacks Monday night against Chicago, leaning heavily on Brian Flores' blitz, deception, and pressure looks to mask deficiencies in the back end. That plays right into the strengths of a rookie quarterback, Michael Penix, who has shown both aggression and composure early in his career. He led the NFL in big-time throw rate over his 3 starts to close 2024 while keeping turnovers at bay, with just a 1.7% turnover worthy play rate. His week one showing against Todd Bowles' blitz centric defense was particularly impressive to me. Pressured on constantly, Penix recorded zero turnover worthy plays and consistently punished the defense by finding his outlets. Having Bijan Robinson as an outlet is a cheat code. Robinson posted 100 yards on 6 catches in the opener and can flip field position instantly. But really, the mobility piece for Penix is crucial. Scrambled 4 times in week one, including a clutch late touchdown. And Minnesota surrendered several key gains to Caleb Williams scrambling on Monday Night Football. If Flores dials up the pressure, I have confidence that Penix can use both his legs and his poise to make him pay. On the perimeter, all eyes are on Drake London, who is expected to play despite being listed as questionable. London's size and contested catchability are a nightmare matchup for for the Minnesota Vikings cornerback group that remains the soft underbelly of this defense. With Minnesota also coming in on short rest, Atlanta's ability to generate explosives through London, take advantage of Robinson in space, and use Penix's athleticism should put sustained pressure on this unit. And Minnesota's offense, looked like crap. It was sluggish for most of its Monday night win in Chicago, but in the fourth quarter, they mounted a comeback. The ground game provided the most significant lift, with Jordan Mason debuting as a physical downhill runner to complement the versatility of Aaron Jones, who remains a threat as both a rusher and a receiver, and that balance gave Minnesota just enough to survive a shaky passing attack. Even without the Bears' top corner, Justin Jefferson was held in check. Just 43 yards on 4 catches, though we did find the end zone. Rookie QB J.J. McCarthy, making his first start, showed flashes of poise by leading the late rally, but his performance also highlighted growing pains. He threw a pick 6, took 3 sacks despite being pressured on only 6 dropbacks, and leaned on his legs for a zone read rushing score. The inconsistency leaves questions about how well this passing game can function without a sturdier defense. Atlanta's unit presents a much more formidable challenge than Chicago does. Against Tampa in week one, the Falcons allowed just a 37.5% dropback success rate. It's 4th in the NFL, and a 34.8% rushing success rate. That was 9th. Forced the Bucs into this inefficient play for most of the afternoon, even against one of 2024's most explosive offenses. If the Falcons caught just one of Baker Mayfield's 4 turnover-worthy plays, Atlanta likely wins. And that hook that we're getting here wouldn't be available. The weakness came on chunk plays downfield, but Minnesota might not be able to exploit that outside of Jefferson. Mason is more of a bruiser than a breakaway threat, and Jones's biggest impact comes as a pass catcher rather than a home run rusher. Head coach KOC, he remains an excellent play caller. I didn't love the play calling on Monday night, but they did win. Monday night papers over what was at best an uneven offensive performance. If Atlanta can just contain Jefferson with safety help, hold the line against Mason and Jones, McCarthy's going to be forced into these long down and distance situations that I think is going to tilt the matchup in the Falcons' favor. Minnesota enters on a high after their wild comeback win in Chicago, while Atlanta is looking to bounce back after a gut punch loss to Tampa Bay that ended with a missed field goal at the end. Both teams feature promising 2024 draft picks under center, but this matchup sets up as more of a grinded out battle than I think a shootout. And there's also 2 really strong systems on Atlanta. One of them says to simply take the rested underdog versus the non-rested favorite up to plus 6.5. Teams like the Falcons have covered at a 59% rate, going 87, 60, and 2. It's also profitable to take the team that lost in week 1 that's an underdog in week 2 up to 6.5. Those teams, like the Falcons, are 81, 47, and 3, covering 63.3% of the time. Now, my model makes the Falcons closer to a 2-point dog in this one. So at plus 3.5, I really like the Falcons here to keep it close on Sunday Night Football. Hopefully you enjoyed all of these picks. And again, if you did, the best way to support this channel, again, without spending a dime, all these picks are free. Just to press the like button and comment down below, again, what you think of my picks. Tailing, fading, you got other picks you have questions on, leave them in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, but we just have to remind ourselves, it's not gambling advice.